Hello everybody, it's me Ross and welcome to another video. Of course, we've signed Christian Walton from Brighton on loan for the season, and today I'm joined by Wigan fans and Blackburn Rovers fans to get the lowdown on the good, the bad and the whatnot on Christian. I'm joined by Chris from Pie at Night, a podcast covering all things Wigan. Of course, he spent 2 seasons with Wigan, of course, under Paul Cook, helped them win the League One title. Chris, first of all, your overall thoughts on Christian and... he was part of the team who won promotion, won the League One title, so he did all right for you. But what's your overall take on him?
Yeah, he did really well. He's a good young goalkeeper. And we say young goalkeeper. He's 25, which is young for a goalkeeper, but seems to have been around for a long time and got a hell of a lot of experience. I suppose for the 2 seasons he was Wigan, played really well, made himself sort of the number one, played in that team that won the league, and we had quite a tight defence throughout the course of that season. Certainly, I remember him saving a couple of penalties in big moments in big games. He was a good shot stopper. The only sort of criticism I might have had of his time there was he didn't really command his box very well. But like I say, he was young when he was with us. It was 3 years since he left us, so you're looking at early 20s. And it was whether... As such a young goalkeeper, he would be sort of making the point of telling 2 experienced centre-halves in front of him what to be doing. So I couldn't really criticise him for that as such. But yeah, certainly you've got a decent signing on your hands, and I would certainly say he's definitely a goalkeeper who is better than League One standard.
That was the question I was going to ask next is, were you surprised that he's dropped down to League One? He had that season with Blackburn on loan. We split into a Blackburn fan later in this video. But were you surprised? I'm sure the Paul Cook effect, he's had him before and he was always going to maybe sign for Paul Cook if he was interested. But, at the moment at Brighton, I think he's 3rd choice there, so he probably wants more game time. But you're surprised about it. And what can town fans be excited about with Christian? He's 6'5", he's a big lad, but is he a character as well?
Seems like an all-round nice fella. There was certainly throughout the course of that season where we won the league and he was there. The club, I don't want to go on too much about Wigan as a club, but that group of players and the club as a whole, very sort of family-orientated. You get, I think, more these days where players are a bit aloof and they won't speak to fans and this and the other. We never had that at Wigan. The end of the season when we won the league, we had a massive sort of party thing in the park in the middle of Wigan, and the players were just milling about, chatting to people, quite happy to have a photo and what have you. It just seems like a really nice, down-to-earth lad.
And then overall, with his, as you said, at the time he was very young with you guys, and he's not going to be shouting at the centre halves if they're experienced. But what say is he a really good shot stopper? And can he get? I've been hearing that he's not great going down low, but what's the other things that he's good at though?
Yeah, he was a good shot stopper. Never really looked like he was any great trouble or stress, even when we were under the cosh a bit at times. Decent enough with the ball at his feet in terms of clearing the ball. He seemed to do well in finding his man. Like I alluded to, the only thing I would say was him coming for crosses was looked to be a fault in his game. But then again, he was only young, and if he's addressed that while he's been away, or he's sort of matured into dealing with that, then probably you've got a very good keeper on your hands, certainly.
And as you know, it's the Ipswich-Wigan derby. Liam Richardson in the dugout for Wigan, Paul Cook in the dugout for Town. And, of course, you've got Lee Evans and many other players. With you, you've got Guion Edwards. And you also got Will Keane, who was formerly at Town as well. So it will be an interesting game that. You're going to have a lot of former players facing each other. Paul Cook, Liam Richardson in the dugout. It's going to be an interesting game. And you're looking forward to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it adds a bit of spice to it. Obviously, throughout the course of the season last year, when Cook first went to Ipswich, Wigan fans were on tenterhooks thinking, how long is it before Richardson goes? And I think Cook alluded to it himself at one point in one of his interviews where he said, if it's happening, it won't be till the summer. And we all thought, it'll happen in the summer. But it's not. Richardson sort of got given his chance to be number one. Didn't seem to want to take it because the administration we were under last season brought John Sheridan in, and he was awful. And then when he went, it was a case of Richardson stepping up. And I think to some extent, Liam Richardson needed to see for himself that he could do it, and he's got the confidence now. And we stayed up towards the end of the season, but bearing the situation we were in, it was a miracle. It literally was a miracle, and I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, because this is sort of the first chance that Richardson's had to build a team of his own and see how it goes. The similarities in the way we played under Cook, especially early on. So we signed Kiefer Moore under Cook and sort of played a bit of long ball, and the fans weren't happy with it. And to some extent, it was a bit of disrespect to Kiefer Moore, because he was a very good footballer. We seem to have done the same with Charlie White. And it's like, well, how long do we carry on with this? And at the minute, it's sort of getting results. White is working very hard for the team and we're doing well, but he's not scored yet. And a lot of people are saying, well, he scored 31 goals last season. What's doing there? But to some extent, as long as the team are winning, and we are, it'll be happy. We'll be happy with it. It's not going so well for Cook and Ipswich so far. And it's a shame in some respects, because I've got a lot of time for Paul Cook. He's a very good manager. He can be a bit stubborn at times, and he seems to have his favourites. And there's some times where certainly the support were questioning the selection of certain players, and it didn't seem to make sense. He also seems to like playing two defensive midfielders, and sometimes that didn't do well with the fans. Why are we playing two defensive midfielders at home? We need to go out and attack and go for it. But overall, can't fault Paul Cook for what he did for us as a club. And if the administration hadn't happened, I have no doubt that he'd still be at Wigan. And last season, if we'd have managed to keep that team together, I think we'd have had a good tilt at Championship playoffs. But what happened, and here we are.
Yeah, that will be an interesting game indeed. And we'll see if Christian Walton can be the man. That has been the big question mark this window. Is, we signed the Salford goalkeeper, Halanki, but unfortunately he's not done the job that we wanted him to. And maybe that's what Paul Cook has highlighted that and gone, we need another goalkeeper, and he's brought him in. But Chris, thank you so much for joining me. Anything else you'd like to add on Christian?
No, I hope he does well, apart from the 2 games you play us. This the old cliche, but yeah, he's, like I say, he's a nice lad. Certainly did well at Wigan. I'm sort of surprised that he's dropped to League One, but it's one of them. He probably just wants games, doesn't he? And if he's had to drop to get games, then from his point of view, it's probably better being a regular in a League One team, or a team that will be expected to sort of be pushing the top end of League One once things get going, as opposed to being sat on the bench at Brighton or being in a struggling Championship team. Okay,
then. Now I'm joined by Dan from Rovers Chat, covering all things Blackburn Rovers. Christian Walton, of course, spent a season on loan with them in the 2019-20 season. You guys finished 11th for that campaign. Dan, first of all, what's your overall thoughts on Christian's time at Blackburn? 46 league games for him, was your mainstay keeper. Are you surprised that he dropped down to League One?
Not really. I think his best spell has come in League One as a keeper with Wigan a few years ago. And I think when he was with us, you saw that he could have had a Championship with, and I saw Preston were linked with him. But I don't think he's not the keeper you'd want where you're going to take a step up in the Championship. He's very much bottom half, bottom 6 keeper.
Okay, and let's talk about the positives and the negatives. We were speaking off there that you got a few negatives, but let's start with the positives. What's he good at? What did he do well at Blackburn?
I seem to remember he quite good at the reflex saves. Like when a ball would be cut back, he was quite good at just getting a hand on it, turning it round the post. I think that's what we remember him for, the good side of it. He's very good with his hands. It's just other aspects of the keeping that you remember more than others, don't you?
Yeah, of course, it's that position where if you concede, you're at fault for that pretty much. I know defence if they do a mistake, but the goalkeeper is where you get a lot of the criticism. But what's the negatives there? And what can town fans look forward to being annoyed about? Anything like that? Because, of course, we've just signed a new goalkeeper as well, a goalkeeper from Salford, but now Paul Cook's he's had enough of him now. He wants to bring in, well, he has brought in Walton, previously at Wigan. What's the negatives then? What we can look forward to? Hopefully not.
He's not very commanding in the air for a 6'4", 6'5" keeper. Doesn't collect many crosses. He seemed to be a bit flappy when the ball had come in. I mean, yes, Rovers fans, and there's 6 or 7 goals they'll remember where he dropped one or he didn't catch it. His distribution's not the best when he plays out from the back. What long balls, most of them ended up in the side stand that he would. I think he has the talent, and although I'm naming all the negatives, like you said, you make a mistake as a keeper. Everyone remembers what you've done. You cost your team. He's not going to be as bad as I say he is, but I can only talk about his time here.
And then anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up? And, it's an opportunity for him now. He's 25 years of age. Last year, he didn't spend any time. I think he made like a couple of cut appearances at Brighton, but this is a season for him to really step on it. Goalkeepers, you can go on until you're 40 if you want to. Do you think this is a season for him to really make his name at town and potentially a permanent deal in the long term at the club? But anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think it is a chance for him to do something. They're a good club at Ipswich. You should be up and around there this year. I've seen all the signings you've made. Obviously, that doesn't mean success, but I think if he gets a good run, keeps his place in the team, because is it Ladley?
Yeah.
Ladley from Salford. If you can keep him out of the team, then I think he's got a chance of doing something. He has talent. He backed himself when he were at Rovers. He spoke a lot about breaking into the Brighton first team, but then obviously Sanchez come in and all the other keepers at Brighton. He has the talent. He definitely has it. He just needs that spell where he's in the spotlight and everyone recognises that he's actually a half-decent keeper.
Well, we'll have to wait and see on that. And, Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope everybody enjoyed the lowdown on Christian Walton, who's signed for town on loan for the season from Brighton. And we'll see how he gets on. Hopefully, many clean sheets. We'll wait and see. Bye-bye for now.